Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to
Something else.
something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matara, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Welcome to the return of the greatest classic pro wrestling podcast of all time. This is Something Else. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is the Glenn Holbrook to my Don Sanders. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
Why couldn't I have been the Red Raider to your Paul Brown?
The Red Raider to my Paul Brown. It's Trae.
Some very low quality jobbers on this edition of Mid-South Wrestling.
See, I just figured because we are exceptionally white, and if we were to be wrestling Kamala and the Zambui Express, it would really enhance how white we were.
Well, that match needs a lot of enhancing, so.
Yes, it does. Now it's time for our favorite game, and this one's a little tricky because we went off the air last week with not knowing whether or not I was going to do a Wednesday show talking about Slammiversary. So Trae, what episode number are we on?
Did you do a Wednesday show talking about Slammiversary?
Wow, thank you for listening to the show. But no, I did not.
Okay, then I believe it's 308.
This is, in fact, episode number 308 of Something Else. We're officially taking over the even numbers away from Cindy. I guess we're giving it right back to her this weekend because we're going to do 310 sometime this weekend. And unless we do a We're Really Bored episode sometime, we're not going to have another show until we do, 311 in a couple weeks.
I was thinking we should do I have an idea for, I don't know, something of a spot show or an idea that I've been mulling around.
Well, we'll see how bored we are Friday night. So yes, it is finally time. We are heading to Chicago this weekend for G1. And so this week, all the shows are going to be on as normal. Trae and I are going to do at least one show from our palatial estate in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, aka Chicago. And other than that, we are off all next week. I did give a half-hearted effort to put together a schedule to do next week's episodes, and I'll be honest, even I wasn't that enthused by it, so it was best to just take the week off.
I would have been fine with it, but if you'd given me a week off, I'll take a week off.
We're going to take a week off. We'll catch up. You know, there's always a missing Mid-South or a missing World Class somewhere. We'll find ways to catch up at some point. Don't worry, everybody.
And you picked a good time to get out of whack on the TNA show because in like 2 months you can just double up on impacts for 2 weeks.
I was talking to Cindy about this tomorrow. Like, especially when like the pay-per-view era ends, like there's a lot of impacts where it's 3 job matches and a main event. We can get through that shit in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm still waiting for this fucking Monty Brown babyface turn because here's what I know. Monty Brown is a babyface in December when he takes on Jeff Jarrett for the world title. And then Monty Brown turns heel in March of 2005. So between now and December, he has to turn babyface. And we're already in July, and he's still a heel.
See, I only remember him being a babyface for the Jarrett match, too. Except in mine, it was in January.
Well, they did a pay-per-view title match, but there was one on Fox Sports.
Oh, okay, the one on
before
TV.
Turning Point. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So funny.
He's got to eventually turn babyface at some point.
That when they started doing the monthly pay-per-views, they called the January one Final Resolution, and then it took them until 2009 to figure out that Final Resolution should probably be in December.
Yes, 2008. They had 2 Final Resolutions that year.
Yeah,
the January one, which had a really good, and you'll be shocked to hear that this match was good, Kurt Angle versus Christian Cage. And then they ended the year with a shitty 8-man tag with the Main Event Mafia versus your buddy Bully Ray, Devon, and I think AJ and Joe. But the rules were if any member of the babyfaces won, no matter who it was and no matter what member of the heels they pinned, then AJ Styles won Sting's world title.
Yeah, that sounds like a TNA pay-per-view main event from that era.
Yes, it does. Because that was around the time where they were like, well, we have to do 12 pay-per-views because the contract stipulates it, but we're only going to put effort into like 4 or 5 of them, and the other ones are going to be throwaways. And much like the history of TNA, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, ladies and gentlemen. Like when you turn Monty Brown heel because when his contract expires in a year and a half, he may go to WWE. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that a year and a half later, he leaves to go to WWE.
TNA, everybody.
Yes. In other news, TNA has gone out of business about 12 times in the last 20 years. All right, so remember...
The heat death of the universe, TNA will somehow still be inexplicably running shows.
TNA and cockroaches, they will survive the apocalypse. So remember, I forget it was last week, the week before, we had JR and sad Joel Watts. This week we have JR and creepy Joel Watts at the commentary desk. Let's go to them right now.
Welcome to Mid-South Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross. Thank you very much for being with us. Along with Joel Watts, we'll be describing the action, ladies and gentlemen, a tremendous hour that matchmaker Grizzly Smith has assembled here today. You're going to see the Fantastics in tag team action. You're also going to see a very impressive newcomer, Al Perez. We've heard some great things about this young man. Plus, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Barbarian, will be in tag team action. Plus, you'll see Steve Dr. Death Williams go against Wendell Cooley. Kamala and Kareem Muhammad will be in tag team action. Plus, Joe, we've got 2 title matches right here today on TV.
Where else but on Mid-South Wrestling could you see 2 title defenses right here on television? Scheduled, we have Terry Taylor against the Nightmare for the North American title and the Snowman going against Dirty Dutch Mantell. There was quite a confrontation between those 2, and it'll be for the Mid-South television title right here on TV. Also, for all you non-profit groups and organizations, get a pencil and paper ready because we'll have a special announcement about how you can bring Mid-South Wrestling to your area.
And right now, ladies and gentlemen, the North American title will be at stake. Let's go to ring announcer Boyd Pierce.
All right, before we go to Boyd for the intro of our opening match, Joel had the look on his face like he just murdered somebody and he's hoping no one finds out. And I could barely pay attention to JR as he went through all of the unimportant matches we'll be seeing this week. But then we're going to get 2 title matches this week. And where else? What other company could possibly have 2 title matches on the same show? You know?
I mean, we don't see that on World Class.
Even though they have 37 title belts.
I know.
Yeah. But we're going to get the champion versus Terry Taylor for the North American title and the Snowman versus Dirty Dutch Mantell for the TV title. And as mentioned last week, this is the Snowman's last night in the territory, or at least the last TV appearance in the territory. So will he lose the belt this week? We're going to have a special report on that by Trey when we get to that match.
Very special.
Yes. But before we get that, let's go to the intro of our opening match. You know, it's got to be special when I'm going to play the introduction of our opening match.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Boyd Pierce to intro our North American title match.
This event, one fall, or television time remaining for the North American Heavyweight Championship. On my left from Vero Beach.
Hold it, Mr. Pierce. Let me correct you. This will not be a North American heavyweight title match.
Oh, yes, it is. I signed a contract. This is a North American title match.
Hold on, Mr. Taylor. Yes, we did. We signed a contract, brother. But in it said we had to guarantee you one return match for the title, and we kept our part of the contract, brother. Just a minute. You got your title shot. You're not a worthy champion. You're not getting a title match. We're in the driver's seat now. We got the belt. If we want to give you a title match, we can. If we don't, we don't have to.
No, I already signed a contract, and this is for the North American title, whether you like it or not.
You don't realize something, Mr. Taylor. You don't realize one thing, brother. We can be our own matchmaker. If we want to walk out of here today and go anywhere in the world, we could, because we are the North American heavyweight champion. That's right, brother. And you are not getting a North American title match. Just forget it.
Wait a minute, Taylor. Let me tell you something. He's right, Taylor. You got nothing to be griping and belly aching about. Number one, he beat you legitimately fair and square, which is a lot more than I could say for the way you beat me. I never signed the contract, and you stole the belt from me. I never got my rematch, and you're yelling and screaming and belly aching about this being a title match. They fulfilled their obligation to you. They aren't obligated to wrestle and defend that belt for 30 days. Now, I'm not taking anything away from this man. He's a great champion. But Ted DiBiase was also a great North American champion, and I still want that belt. So I'll tell you what, Taylor. You wrestle me here right now, today, and the winner of that match will meet this man for that belt. What do you say to that, Taylor?
So you're the matchmaker now, right? You're making your own matches. DiBiase's stakes are a lot higher than you. You got nothing I want. He's got my belt, and that's why I'm here.
Well, how about this? Are they higher than this, Taylor?
Looks like we've got a different match.
Well, ring announcer Johnny Martinez has called for the bell.
Okay, I wanted to play that for a few seconds because I've got to bring that up at the end. However, man, oh man, has Mid-South changed. For years, we're told that matchmaker Grizzly Smith has to be the person that makes any changes to the program, that he makes the matches. You can't just come out here willy-nilly and make your own matches and make your own stipulations. Well, everybody basically agreed that we can't have the champion versus Terry Taylor for the North American title today. And Ted DiBiase came up with his own solution that he'll wrestle Terry Taylor instead, and the winner of that match gets a title shot.
I'm sorry, did JR just call the referee Tony Martinez?
I said ring announcer Johnny Martinez.
Johnny.
Let me replay that. 1 second here.
Looks like we've got a different match.
Well, ring announcer Johnny Martinez has called for the bell.
Oh,
ring announcer Johnny Martinez has called for the bell.
None of that was right, JR.
No.
None of that was right. You got ring announcer right.
The ring announcer was Boyd Pierce, who is not Johnny Martinez. And the referee, by the way, is Tony Torres, who is not to be confused with Johnny Martinez.
Okay, that was, I didn't catch that when I watched this.
Because you talked about, because Dutch later on isn't wearing a singlet. So you had messaged me about Dutch not wearing a singlet. And I thought you were watching the show. And so I said to you, well, what do you think of what JR said? And you had no idea what I was talking about, understandably.
No, I was watching Jim Cornette Rookie Years, Volume 1. It was Dutch and Lawler at the Mid-South Coliseum in '82.
Okay. How was it?
Oh, it was great. It was Dutch Mantell and Jerry Lawler Coliseum.
And I'm assuming that Cornette was managing Dutch?
Yes, that was the one time that Cornette managed Dutch before Dutch started treating him like a fucking stooge. It's very... I get about like halfway through the first disc. It's very entertaining the way Cornette comes in as like... He's just bright, happy... You know, he's the photographer and he loves wrestling and he's all enthusiastic. And then first Lawler treats him like a fucking goof, and then Dundee, and then Mantell, and you could see like it's quite literally his villain origin story.
Isn't his first protege Sherry Martel?
The very first person that he manages on television is Sherry Martel. Yes.
Interesting. All right. Now, throw away whatever the hell JR was smoking about ring announcer Johnny Martinez calling for the bell. Taylor puts on an armbar here, and Joel says that Tony Torres checked the legality of the hold. I don't know why, but the idea of the referee having to check how legal an armbar was just popped me.
Well, yeah, you got to get in there.
Yeah. This is the best classic match I've seen all week long. And that includes Smoky Mountain, that includes TNA, that includes World Class, that includes whatever the hell is going to be on Super Brawl 5 that I'm going to watch later tonight, probably. This was fucking terrific. This was a hard-fought match, and they were working at a good pace, and were both sweating up a storm. I've seen a lot of clotheslines this week, but it's possible these were the snuggest clotheslines I've seen. DiBiase gets on the figure 4 in the middle of the ring, but thankfully for Taylor, he watched his Bob Roop tapes and managed to turn it over. So DiBiase made it to the ropes. DiBiase loaded his glove, and Taylor ducked it the first time, but not the second time. And DiBiase won in almost 12 minutes, which may be the longest TV match we've ever had on the show.
It may be. It may actually be. It was very good. It was just a very good match, and they got a lot of time, and it was nice because, like, they ate up. This is a funny thing to say. They ate up a lot of the runtime with good wrestling, so then, like, it wasn't as many just interminable squash matches.
Yeah. And, I mean, for a star rating, I'd say 3.5, 3 3/4, maybe even 4. But this was a damn good 12-minute match.
Yeah, very good.
So now that's the question. Are we going to get the champion versus Ted DiBiase? We don't usually get heel versus heel matches.
You know, I wondered at one point, are DiBiase and Doc still the tag champions? Because you wouldn't know it from the show.
They are, in fact, still the tag team champions of the world of Mid-South. Didn't they? Doesn't Doc come out as champion later on?
Not unless he walked out with it. I didn't notice when he was like introduced, he didn't have it, and it wasn't mentioned.
I'm reading my notes of that match, and I don't have it mentioned at all. So maybe they lost the belts, and we'll find out next week. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm not going to bother looking it up. Just hey, let's spoil me a little bit, or not spoil me, but let's surprise me next week. All right. So that concludes the very good wrestling and booking portion of at least the first half of this program. Now, we will bring back some good wrestling and some good booking later on. But first, before that, we have to go to a special announcement by my co-host Trae, who's going to take us through the ensuing match, which is the champion of television, the Snowman, versus Dirty Dutch Mantell. Trae,
okay,
the floor is all yours.
Okay, before I embarrass myself, please clarify for me, have I missed some long-standing rule that either titles in Mid-South or the TV title in particular can change hands on a disqualification or a count out?
That has never been mentioned.
Okay, thank you, because it wouldn't have completely reduced what I wanted to say, but it is a factor. So this match lasted, bell to bell was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And it consisted of the Snowman beating Dutch Mantell's ass. And then the Snowman accidentally bumped the referee. And by the way, when I say he bumped the referee, he accidentally backdropped poor Randy Anderson over the top rope.
Well, Randy Anderson jumped on his back.
That's true. That's not an accident. At that point, the champion appeared and pile drove the Snowman on the floor. The Snowman then gets counted out, and I was so fucking baffled because I knew two things. I knew that this was the Snowman's last match of the territory, and I knew that Dutch Mantell won the TV title from the Snowman. So when this countout happened, I was so fucking confused. And then a minute later, I was even more confused when JR just said, well, the title will change hands. So now let's just ignore for a moment how fucking furious I was when they randomly informed us that the TV title could change hands on a countout. This big, uncoordinated lug has now come and gone in this territory without actually putting over anybody.
Correct.
And so, Ari, do you recall last week I made quite a good joke tweet that even popped Uncle Dave? Do you remember this?
I do.
That when someone said that Clarence Thomas replacing Thurgood Marshall on the Supreme Court is the biggest downgrade in Black history, and I said I appreciate the sentiment, but have you seen the Snowman in Mid-South Wrestling? And just based solely on the fact that his entire run sucked and accomplished nothing, I would like to nominate the Snowman in Mid-South Wrestling for the Something Else Hall of This Sucks.
I have no qualms at all for that one. So the Snowman's entire run in Mid-South.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Inducted July 6th, 2026.
Thank you.
Joining such luminaries as Ken Mantell for being such a shitty booker, he fucked up a Midnight Express versus Fantastics match at the DVE MPOC. Ed Carr Boo Thomas for falling through the ropes. The bracket for the second annual Mid-South Television Tournament for a medal and $10,000, and everybody involved in putting it together. The 11 or 13-man, 12-man Battle Royal in Smoky Mountain Wrestling that ended in a no contest. The Mid-South Dream Match Contest. Kendo Samurai for sucking. That one's my favorite. Hans Schroeder, the Super Date at the Superdome. Ed Siegel, the Moondogs, and Prince Karras.
Just
you realize the fucking Super Date at the Superdome was more than a year ago at this point.
Oh my god. How time flies.
Ladies, send your pictures to Joel and Erich and Nico Watts.
I will say that I have to ease up on Kim Mantell just a little bit this week because there was a booking beat on World Class that was so obvious that I had no confidence in him, and he actually didn't fuck it up. So at least there's that.
There you go. By the way, Chick Donovan remains our only inductee into the Something Else Hall of fucking Geeks. Because I couldn't flat out say that this sucks, just that he was a fucking geek. He returned from injury and got his ass kicked in a fair fight versus manager General Skandor Akbar.
So we have the Something Else Hall of something else that it doesn't necessarily have to be good, but it does have to be something else. And then the Hall of This Sucks, which has to suck.
Generally speaking, though, the Something Else Hall of something else has been for good stuff.
Yes. And then, so there's the Hall of This Sucks, and then the Hall of Fucking Geeks. Is that what we're up to right now? Three wings of the Something Else Hall of Halls?
Yes. pardon me, I've got a case of the burps there. So just a few extra notes of this classic TV title match. Joel said this will be a classic confrontation, and JR said this will be a great one. It's very possible that JR was sharing his booze with his impressionable 21-year-old co-host.
I mean, JR is a known proponent of the Iranian tobacco.
Snowman would not break in the corner, so Randy Anderson jumped on his back, ended up bumping over the top rope to the floor. And then out came the champion, who gave the Snowman the pile driver on the floor. I don't want to be that person, but every black guy in the territory has had a head impervious to punishment. Oh, God. Then, oh, my God. Then Randy Anderson gets back in the ring and counts Snowman out, and due to the countout, Dutch won the TV title. Never been established that this title changes hands via countout or DQ. In fact, I'd bet there's been a countout or DQ in a title match before. Bull fucking shit. The only good news here is this was a loser leaves the territory match. Good riddance.
I almost peed straight up into the air again.
And Kamala and Kareem Muhammad, the Zambuli Express, with General Skandor Akbar versus the whitest team in Mid-South Wrestling, Don Sanders and Glenn Holbrook. Kareem pinned Holbrook with Tomoaki Honma falling headbutt. Trae, what's the name of that move?
Kokeshi.
Now, it's very good timing this week that Kareem Muhammad, the Zambuli Express, was on, since Tomoaki Honma announced his retirement.
Yeah. So Tomoaki Honma, as people likely know, he during the New Japan boom in the 2010s, he became a fan favorite for his underdog performances, and then in 2017 he suffered a neck injury that he was never the same from. And he's just kind of limped along, and he's finally retired, which is, I think it's a good thing. Like, Tiger Mask is retiring in about 12 hours as we record this. Hiroyoshi Tenzan. Yeah, and he's been needing to retire for a little bit too. And so has Honma. There's some turnover. Not just they lost talent that, I'm sure they regret losing, but there's spots opening up.
Indeed. Like, when I started watching New Japan was around the time regularly watching New Japan. Like, I started being a Tokyo Dome viewer in like 2013, but when I started regularly watching New Japan was the G1 where Honma went 0-10. 0-10 or 0-9, whatever it was that year.
2014.
Yeah. And then that basically was his thing. He never would win. And actually today, as we're taping this, 10 or 11 years ago today was the Dominion show where he teamed with Naito when Naito was just starting his Tranquilo gimmick.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I actually just posted on Facebook because I was up watching that show on New Japan World at 2 a.m. whenever that was happening.
Today was how many years? 7 years since the G1 in Dallas, which I actually watched the other day to get my mind right for the upcoming week. And but my Liger picks, because that was like the G1 Climax, yeah, cool, kind of Tanahashi. I got to see Liger live one time before he retired.
That's great. I saw him a couple times, and it's always fun to see Jushin Thunder Liger in person.
Yeah.
Easily, I don't think there's a human being alive that wouldn't call him one of the all-time greatest, ever. Unless you're a fucking troll on the internet. And by the way, I haven't told you this. I think I may have like tweet, but I've not told you this. I love that tweet that you got sticky on your page. You got sticky when I checked it earlier today.
Yes.
Do you want to say what it is while I'm trying to pull up Twitter to speak?
So I'm supposed to say what my tweet is while you try to look up Twitter.
So Trey's main post on Twitter. If you approach me like someone looking to have an exchange of ideas, I'll treat you as an intellectual peer. If you approach me like a mouthy twat trying to score points on me, I'm going to treat you like a mouthy twat trying to score points on me.
Yes. I stand by it.
Yeah. It's a tremendous tweet, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
After that, Steve Williams versus Wendell Cooley. Now, I should have waited till next week, but I wanted to say this so I wouldn't forget it on next week's show. Next Sunday, July 14th, 1985, is the 1985 USFL Championship game. Now, when Doc was originally in the territory a few years ago, he left us for 6 months to a year because he was going to go play for the Denver Gold of the USFL. And he came back, and his wrestling career has been going on since. Now, the next USFL season was supposed to be their first season in the fall. They were going to move to the fall of 1986. And I wonder if Doc was training for that 1986 fall season. And I say this because when Dr. Death Steve Williams died in 2009, he was still waiting for that 1986 USFL season.
Any year now.
Yep. While he was waiting, Doc won this match with that Oklahoma Stampede.
It was actually a little cooler than you're giving it credit for, because Cooley hit the corner and tried to do a rebound cross body, and Doc caught him and power slammed him.
Jake the Snake Roberts and the Frog Jumping Barbarian versus Private Terry Daniels and Frankie Lane. Last week on this show, Dick Murdoch saved Terry Daniels from a beatdown. Dick Murdoch, not only does Dick Murdoch not give a fuck this week, nobody gives a fuck because they don't even mention that ever happened. Barbarian submitted him with the full Nelson.
Terry Daniels is no longer a private, apparently. He has been stripped of his rank, presumably because Dick Murdoch realized what a geek he was.
Didn't they call him Private Terry Daniels?
He was not announced as. He was announced as just plain old Terry Daniels. He has been discharged.
Well, it couldn't have happened to a better man. We'll say that.
Maybe they found out about that corporal's uniform.
Yes, his corporal chevron on his private uniform.
Yeah.
Okay. So up next, Al Perez. Yes, that Al Perez versus Tommy Pritchard. Yes, that Tommy Pritchard. Now, Gary Hart was always big on Al Perez, and nobody on planet Earth outside of Al Perez seemed to agree with Gary Hart on this one. And all I could hear was Gary Hart talking about how he's one of the greatest Latins of all time. And I got to tell you this, Trey, if every Al Perez match was like this, I would agree that Al Perez was one of the next great ones.
Speaking of my Twitter account, if you go to at @OregaTrey, I actually clipped this entire match because it needed to be shared.
Yes, and you know, Trey out there posting like these long marathon matches here on Twitter. Trey, why don't you take us move by move through this epic encounter?
So Al Perez turned toward the turnbuckle. You know, they're kind of doing the beginning of the match instructions. Pritchard attacked Al Perez from behind. They did a little Zabada. And then Perez hit the fucking sickest looking German suplex that I have seen recently. Like, I ran this back and watched this German suplex like 10 times. And then I decided I had to go clip it and post it.
Tommy did hit a super kick, by the way. and before Perez won with the bridging German. That bridging German was so great that fucking referee Carl Fergie watched it, and like there was like a pregnant pause before he realized, oh shit, and dove in for the cover, or dove in for the count.
Yeah, that was the entire match, by the way. Bell to bell, they went 10 seconds. But it was like...
This show may have had the longest Mid-South match and the shortest Mid-South match all on the same show.
This match was like work rate wise, not very high, but it's a 10 out of 10.
Yes. This is an example when I used to talk about how people would debut in AEW and they'd be like, oh, we have a big name coming in, Mariah May making her AEW debut versus Queen Aminata, and they have a 10-minute match where Mariah May does every move she knows under the sun. And I forget who I argued with this about. I don't think it was you, because I think you generally agreed with me on this. If like Queen Aminata could live to get over another day, that match was about Mariah May, and instead she just looked another 50-50 geek that she couldn't beat somebody who never wins on the TV show. And, that's not what happened here. If Al Perez only has one move, well, I guess they did a good job of it because he used that one move to perfection.
This German suplex was fantastic.
Yes. I doubt Al Perez ever does anything as amazing as that German suplex.
Yeah.
Now, remember last week when we were promised a fantastic music video and Joel wasn't beaming with pride, and I theorized that it must be a repeat because when it's a new video, Joel gets really excited about it, and he wasn't really that excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it's the same Sharp Dressed Man music video we've seen like 5 times now.
Every girl crazy about a sharp dressed man.
I had to laugh because I forget what I was doing, but it's like I turned on Starkid 86 as background noise while I was doing something yesterday, and the first match is Brad Armstrong versus Jimmy Garvin, and I forgot this, but in Crockett Promotions, Jimmy Garvin comes out the Sharp Dressed Man.
Oh yeah.
But I turned it on, I start typing away, and all of a sudden I hear dun 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 dun. I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna play a game with you because I'm gonna ask you a question that I've told you before and see if you remember.
Oh, come on. We both know how this is gonna end, but sure, go ahead.
Taking out the Fantastics, what world-class tag team used Sharp Dressed Man?
Do we get a hint?
World-class tag team, that's your hint.
Well, that only narrows it down. World-class tag team. No idea.
Jado and Gedo, world-class tag team.
Paul Brown and the Red Raider versus Fantastic.
It's so funny because when the Fantastics debuted at World Class, I got you with that, and you don't remember the things.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. My girlfriend wants me to put a tracker on my phone in case I get into an accident or something on the way, so she knows where I am. I'm like, I may not want to put that tracker on my phone now. I don't want witnesses. The 30 people listening to this show don't need to know my plans.
My wife already has a tracker on my phone.
Oh, God damn it. I'm sorry. That's just I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Paul Brown and the Red Raider, who, by the way, was perfectly hidden beside Boyd, versus the Fantastics. Raider and Boyd go to the same tailor for red pants.
Sorry, can I tell one more Jado and Gedo story?
Of course.
So on the New Japan show that happened this morning, they had like a special three-way tag match with Tiger Mask and Jado against Taiji Ishimori and Gedo against Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Dick Togo, which is funny. But it was cool because Tiger Mask's first New Japan match back in 2002 was at the Tokyo Dome, and it was Tiger Mask, Liger, and Great Sasuke against Jado, Gedo, and Dick Togo. But anyway, it just warmed my heart that Jado and Gedo, who have been like enemies for the last few years now, did a fucking like a spot where they did a tag spot out of habit. It made me very happy.
Well, there was some TNA match where Rude and Storm, after they broke up, they were wrestling each other in like a 3 or 4 way, and they did the beer money suplex almost because like we're giving somebody a suplex, we have to do it.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Oh, do you remember? There was some Royal Rumble in like the mid 2000s when Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin hit one of the old World Greatest Tag Team double team spots like that.
Yep, it was the not the sunset flip, the leapfrog over Haas holding whoever. It was the 05 Rumble. Now they never had a breakup like somebody turned on the other breakup. They just stopped teaming. Like every time they never had a breakup.
Yeah,
and they teamed like 4 different times.
Didn't they just stop teaming the first time because Shelton got drafted to Raw?
Yeah. And then the second time was because Shelton randomly showed up in ECW. And then the third time was because Charlie Haas got fired. Then the fourth time was because Charlie Haas got fired from Ring of Honor.
Was that for threatening Greg the Office Boy?
Didn't he threaten to beat up Grizzly Redwood one time or something? Or am I confusing him with somebody else?
We may be remembering the same story with different characters.
Possibly. So scrolling back down, I'm taking notes for other things here. The Fantastic.
I'm sorry. The point of the conversation is, it's always great when like a former tag team are in a match together and randomly hit the old tag spot.
So here's a question before we get to the Fantastics match. So Cindy and I talked about this tomorrow on the show. Do America's Most Wanted get the credit that they deserve? Because part of the issue is like they became probably the best tag team on U.S. national television over that 3 or 4 year period. The problem was most of their run was either during the weekly pay-per-view era or the Fox Sportsnet era, where there was a lot less viewership than the Spike TV era, because by the time Spike TV came around, they were heels and constantly teasing breaking up for like a year.
Yeah. Okay. So I would have said yes before you put it like that, because they do. I think like the people who saw America's Most Wanted know that America's Most Wanted probably was the best American TV tag team of that several year period, but just how many people never saw like Peak America's Most Wanted.
Yeah. Now, like I said, Beer Money gets the love they deserve, and I think there's 2 things that lead to AMW not getting the love that they deserve sometimes. One is that Beer Money was an even better tag team, and secondly was Chris Harris bombed so epically in WWE.
Oh, it's so bad. I still have like the same meme from 2009 making fun of Braden Walker.
And it's like WWE gave him a shitty name, and put him against people who he could not have good matches with. That is WWE's fault. Chris Harris's fault was showing up horribly out of shape and, just not being Chris Harris.
You know what? It's funny, but I think you would have to concede that based on that period he would randomly show up on NXT, that James Storm had a better WWE run than Chris Harris.
Yes, and Storm, they were both in WWE for about the same amount of time. And the best was Storm, because the TNA had taped all their stuff months in advance, and this was when NXT was airing at the same time as Impact. So it's like I'd be on my NXT report saying, "Oh, Storm won here," and if you tune into Spike TV right now or whatever channel they were on, you can see Storm wrestling so and so on Impact.
That was still on the network.
Maybe Pop.
Oh,
you mean NXT?
NXT being on the network.
Yeah. NXT was still on WWE Network until 2019.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it's so funny because they offered every name wrestler a $200,000 1-year contract. They couldn't afford to turn the lights on, but somehow they were offering everyone $200,000 for 1 year. I don't get it where the hell they were getting this money from. TNA, by the way, not NXT.
Yeah.
So back to the Fantastics versus Paul Brown and the Red Raider. The Fantastics were in the expiration of time match this week, so it was okay for them to go get sexually assaulted by every female fan at the Irish McNeil Boys Club. And then Rogers pinned Brown with a middle rope splash. And they were worried that this match may not end in enough time for them to air the commercial about bringing Mid-South to your hometown. But thankfully, it ended in enough time to do that.
They got it done in 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Yes. Did you look up to see who the Red Raider was? I didn't.
Neither the Red Raider nor Paul Brown have cage match profiles.
Okay. Have you watched Smoky Mountain yet this week?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Okay. Neither Paul Brown nor the Red Raider are on Smoky Mountain either.
That's a shame.
Yeah. It's a wacky episode, I must tell you that. But anyway, next week on Mid-South, Jim Duggan has a match signed with very special stipulations. Now, you as a wrestling fan out there might wonder to yourself, who his opponent is, or what the stipulations are. But those are not important questions to ask. But that's going to be next week.
Yeah, nah, you go fuck yourself if you want to know any of that stuff.
Shove it up your ugly ass. You heard me right. Shove it up your ugly ass. So Mid-South, hey, on the weight of the first 15 minutes of this show, even with a shitty next 4 minutes, I still give it a thumbs up. Easy.
Yeah.
So we tiptoe one state over to go to World Class Championship Wrestling from the world-famous Sportatorium in Dallas, Texas, the Major League of Professional Wrestling. Let's go to the intro with Bill Mercer. And I got to tell you ahead of time, here at the Sportatorium, as we start the show, plenty of good seats are still available for this show. Let's go to Bill now.
World Class Championship Wrestling from the Sportatorium, the most famous wrestling arena in the world. World Class Championship Wrestling, the Major League of Professional Wrestling seen around the world. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Mercer, and great to have you with us on this event of World Class Championship Wrestling. And our main event is stupendous. This ring may not hold out of it. It's a one-man gang and Kevin Von Erich. Also, you're going to see Gentleman Chris Adams, the Iceman, Killer Tim Brooks, and an interview with Mike Von Erich. We'll talk about his injured shoulder. All this and more right here on World Class Championship Wrestling. And we'll be back right after this.
Now, in the interest of fairness, when we go to commercial, come back from commercial and start the actual show, There is, the seats are generally filled in. There are some gaps that Karl Malone could have filled in if he were here this week. But yeah, during that intro with the long shot of the crowd, there were dozens of empty seats right in front of the camera.
Sorry, I was just thinking. I got lost in thought for a second. Because Karl Malone went to Louisiana Tech, right?
Correct.
Well, he was only an hour away from Shreveport. He could have been in the Irish McNeil Boys Club.
The Irish McNeil Boys Club?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true, although to be fair, he did get drafted by Utah last week, so he may already be on a plane to Salt Lake City, and they don't have a territory out there, so he may just be watching WWF right now.
If you are traveling along I-20 between Dallas and, let's say, Jackson, Mississippi, or Birmingham, Ruston, Louisiana is the largest town of any size between Shreveport and Monroe.
Okay.
You should spend quite a lot of time there.
Was there a reason for this? Okay.
That's where Louisiana Tech is.
Okay. Reston or Monroe?
Ruston, R-U-S-T-O-N.
Ruston, I'm sorry. All right, so we go to the ring for our first match. Pacing across the ring in front of drunk Mark Lawrence, whose 67th birthday, by the way, was yesterday, is Kelly Kiniski. And his opponent is Brian Adias. And
I'm sorry, that's close, longtime family friend of the Von Erichs, Brian Adias. You cannot mention Brian Adias without reminding us that he is the longtime family friend of the Von Erichs.
We're just wondering if you think it would get him a better reaction. And I mean, who knows? Maybe if they didn't mention it, he'd get no reaction, but it's not like he gets a superstar reaction here.
Okay, well, they did this week instead of drunk Mark Lawrence announcing him as such. It was Bill Mercer on commentary that reminded us.
That is true. That is true. Apparently, Killer Tim Brooks also injured Brian Adias' knee. I can't wait until we find out that Adias really got hurt because he needs someone too hard in the head.
Maybe Brian Adias and Mike Von Erich were sparring, and he need Mike in the shoulder.
Or Mike punched him in the knee.
Yeah, there you go.
Still waiting for Brian and Mike to get their tag team title shot. Maybe that's why they never get their tag title shot, because they don't get along anymore after they injured each other.
You know what? There you go. Might be onto something.
Yeah. So Brian New Balance won with the backslide, and dapper drunk Mark Lawrence made the winning announcement.
That was a pretty sweet backslide, I will have to say.
Yeah. That Brian Adias and Kelly Kiniski, they ain't bad professional wrestlers.
Yeah,
they get way too much time to do their thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not bad at all.
Yeah. So in the corner to the left, he is the American Heavyweight Champion. He is one half of the American Tag Team Champions. His name is Chris Adams versus Mike Bond. Poor Mike Bond. He World Class has 30 championship belts, and Mike Bond doesn't get to hold any of them.
We haven't seen Mike Bond in a minute.
No, we haven't. Now, remember last week when we asked why they didn't just do Chris Adams versus the Great Kabuki? Well, next week it's Chris Adams versus the Great Kabuki.
Yeah. Thrust kick against super kick.
Yep. Something tells me that neither are the finish of the match next week. But
I was just happy. This is where Kid Mantell actually impressed me, because after they explained that that's the match next week in a super kick versus thrust kick, I just thought to myself, if the finish of this match is anything other than Adams taking Mike Bond's head off with a super kick, and you can't put it past them, but miraculously, a stop clock is right twice a day, and that was the finish.
Yep, Adams won with both a pile driver and a super kick. And Adams was very generous with Bond. He gave him a lot in this match, and this wasn't a very long match, but like 3-4 minutes.
This went 6 minutes and 12 seconds.
This match went 6 minutes and 12 seconds, and Mike
It
Bond
sure
got more
did.
than his fair share.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Mike Von Erich has been injured for a while, and we are just pushing karma here as we enter July. And Mike Von Erich is now going to cut a promo as to what really happened. And he's in the pool, and Mike is such a loser that he can't even get his brothers to help him rehab anymore. So let's go to Mike and his real friend, Iceman King Parsons.
Von Erichs to find out about the rehabilitation of his left shoulder. You'll recall he injured that in the battle with Tim Brooks and the one-man gang. Now, we heard one story from Gary Hart. We got the true story from the Iceman. Well, hi, guys. Mike, Iceman, you're looking good out here. You know, we found out about the true story from Iceman about how you hurt your shoulder knocking Tim Brooks out. We'd already heard the other story from Gary Hart. But what we want to know today is, are you going to have surgery on that left shoulder, Mike?
Bill, the doctors told me at first that they thought I was going to have surgery. But I started rehabilitating my shoulder myself. I'm with Iceman's help. Iceman's been coming out here every day. I'd like to stop this and thank Iceman right now. He's been the greatest inspiration to me. He's come out here every day.
Brother,
he's shown me new things.
About. That's what I'm here for.
He's been doing everything. But anyway, the rehabilitation, that's all I'm going to do is rehabilitate the shoulder. And I'm ready to get in the ring right now.
All right, what have you been doing besides swimming? What have you been doing in the gym?
I'll tell you what he's been doing, brother. We've been doing dumbbell military presses and with the straight bar military presses. Hey, this young man is getting stronger every day. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I'm here, because he was on the Iceman team when it happened.
How much time does he spend in the gym with this equipment?
Oh, brother, about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, and then we come out here. We got to do 40 or 50 laps a day, or I ain't satisfied. But I tell you one thing about this young man. He's no quitter, brother. He's far from being a quitter. And look here, when he get right, all I need is 2 more weeks. And we're going to set this country on fire. You understand me? I'm talking about on fire. So, Brooks, Gary Hart, one-man game, we on our way. Can you dig it? Mercy.
You bet about 2 weeks you're going to feel okay then.
Yeah, 2 weeks for sure, Bill. I'll be back. And Iceman and myself, we're going to tell our story in the ring.
That's right, brother.
You're ready to go then as a team again.
That's right, brother. We are a team. And the people around the world, around the country, going to know it.
All right. Gentlemen, good luck to you. We'll look for you in the ring right away.
Okay.
And we'll be back with more on World Class Championship Wrestling in just a moment.
So we don't actually know now how Mike got injured, because Mike did not say that, he injured himself here. I think even Mike was too smart for that. But Mike says his doctor said he should get surgery. Don't get surgery on your shoulder, Mike. Whatever you do, nothing good can happen if you get shoulder surgery. But then he decided to rehabilitate himself. And thankfully we have Iceman Parsons, not just to help him rehabilitate him, but also to take over the promo, because Mike can't speak. And I'm not sure what exactly Mike's good at in pro wrestling, but wrestling and speaking are not really two of them.
I believe we're missing the most important part of this segment. Bill Mercer got invited to the pool again.
Yes. To be fair, this isn't the Freebirds pool.
But we all know nothing makes Bill Mercer happier than being invited to hang out by the pool.
That is true. That is very true. Now, I'll admit, I've never had shoulder problems. I don't know if doing military presses for 2.5 hours a day and then doing 40 or 50 laps in the pool are actual rehabilitation efforts for helping your injured shoulder.
I think you got to work your way up to that.
Now, is it possible? Well, I guess what's more likely? That in about 5 weeks, Mike doesn't do this? Or then 5 weeks, Mike does do this?
You want to know something that's more interesting than Mike Von Erich's fake shoulder injury?
Everything else on the show?
This morning when I was finishing watching the New Japan show, I started to have a pain in my stomach. And this pain just like it lasted for a few hours. I struggled to go back to sleep. It just like at times I was just in pain. And that was the biggest pain that I at 38 years old have ever had that turned out to just be a fart. And that fart was more interesting than Mike Von Erich.
See, it's funny when you said, what was more interesting? And I'm like, did you take a shit? Almost.
I don't want to get too graphic, but it was
not on this show.
No, it was very difficult to let what the actual problem was work its way down because I could feel there what was trapped was in like the upper part of my stomach.
Now, I'll say this is the stuff I miss on World Class. No, not Mike Von Erich promos, but leaving the sportatorium and doing stuff outside of the arena. They used to do stuff like this all the time. I don't understand why they don't anymore.
Bill Mercer on location is just easy. You remember when you went to see Jake Roberts in the junkyard?
Yes. Wasn't it? No, wasn't it Jake Roberts? It wasn't the junkyard. It was his house, wasn't it?
Well, he lived in a junkyard.
True. He did have a junkyard dog.
Yeah.
We figured that's why Watts brought him in, like right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know why we're not getting Mercer, out on location anymore. And I guess Mark Lawrence is too busy drinking to be trusted to go out on location. But yeah, it makes the show less fun. Let's say that. Yeah. Now, up next we have scheduled Killer Tim Brooks with Gary Hart and the One Man Gang versus Iceman King Parsons with Kevin Von Erich. They keep calling this the main event, but it is no such thing. We still have One Man Gang versus Kevin Von Erich to come. But Erich is such a hothead, he just jumps right in the ring and begins attacking One Man Gang because he can't just wait for his match. Bronco Lubitsch was not even trying to break it up, so referee Ricky Hazard hit the ring, which inspired Iceman and Kevin to send the heels out of the ring. Now, during this brawl, they tell us that Gary Hart has found his third man for a six-man team. It is Maniac Mark Lewin, who is coming into the territory shortly. So that should be an interesting three-man team.
I can only hear Kevin Sullivan's voice saying, Mark Lewin.
Now, before we go to commercial, David Manning Von Erich was being his normal asshole self, not doing a goddamn thing to help, just, throwing around whatever little authority he has on the show. But we go to commercial. We come back from commercial where a tag team match has suddenly broke out. And it was Killer Tim Brooks and the One Man Gang with Gary Hart versus Iceman King Parsons and Kevin Von Erich. And Trey, I'll be honest, I was far more excited for the two singles matches they announced than this one tag.
I would have been a lot more interested in Parsons and Brooks in a singles just because I feel like Brooks might actually get something mildly interesting out of Iceman.
Yeah. And plus, it did not help. There was way too much fucking time left on this show for this match. Like, this was the right amount of time for two singles matches. I'm sorry, what was that?
Said boy was there.
Yeah. Now, including the aborted first match, they took up about 20 of the 42 minutes of this TV show. How long was the actual tag team match, playa?
Let me see here. 12 minutes and 59 seconds.
That's it? Like, the DiBiase Terry Taylor match went 12 minutes, and this felt much longer. than Terry Taylor versus Ted DiBiase in the Mid-South opener.
That's what the stopwatch said. Yeah, this match was actually only a little bit longer than that match.
And part of the problem was this was a long match where nothing notable happened for minutes on end.
Like this wasn't bad. This was a perfectly decent little tag match. It wasn't offensive. It was just like a lot of matches on this show. Who the fuck cares?
Bronco Lubitsch was doing his best impression of the Snowman as he was bent over in the corner, and the Iceman was doing his best impression of Randy Anderson as he just dove right on top of Bronco. Unfortunately, though, Bronco did not whip Iceman over the top rope to the floor. That would have popped me, but no. Moon. So Gary Hart lost the stipulation match at Texas Stadium, where he's no longer allowed to grow his hair out. Apparently, One Man Gang has decided to take it upon himself to grow all the hair that Gary Hart is not allowed to grow anymore. I've never seen this man with so much hair than he had here in this match.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Trey's going to say he didn't notice that.
I enjoy the One Man Gang. I'm glad to have him around.
So Gang did an arm whip to Kevin, and Bronco was out of place, so he got accidentally bumped. Killer grabbed his chain and was unable to use it, but the heels got disqualified anyway, and then Iceman used she calls that the rear view on Gang. I imagine the reason why they turned it to a tag match was because neither match would have a finish, and so it was better to just have one DQ instead of two DQs.
I suppose so.
But instead, I'm left feeling like Heroes of Wrestling, where instead of getting my Yokozuna King Kong Bundy match, I got a tag match instead, and no Yokozuna versus King Kong Bundy.
What a crime that is.
I'm perhaps the only human being on the planet Earth who would rather have seen that match.
I was so disappointed to learn that we almost had Heroes of Wrestling as a Dark Side of the Ring topic this season.
Yeah, but I'm sure, like, if there's an 8th season of Dark Side, they'll do it then.
I actually haven't watched season 6 yet. I should do that.
Yeah, there's a few episodes I didn't see of season 6. Speaking of which, it starts tonight. The first 2 of the 3 parts on TNA. They put up a few clips on YouTube. I watched, there was like a 7-minute clip of how Karen ended up with Jeff. And that was kind of interesting, because Karen's never really done an interview about it before.
Yeah, and, I watched the whole interview that Jeff Jarrett did with Chris Van Vliet last week, and that was interesting.
So I don't know what Jeff said about it or how much he said, but according to Karen, she and Kurt had already legally separated before he even went to TNA. But it was important to the company that they act like a happy married couple, even though Russo's entire storyline was that they hated each other, which was hilarious in retrospect. And then when Kurt started dating other people, and this was always what was weird, and I don't know if they'll get into it on the show or how they'll get into it on the show, but like Kurt Angle was dating different people. Wasn't he dating Raka Khan?
Yes.
Yeah. And somehow Jeff Jarrett dating Karen was the, oh my God, you motherfucker, how dare you do that?
Yeah, that's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. But it should be an interesting thing. Also, and I'm going to say this as somebody who's watched almost every weekly pay-per-view, and I'm going to say to somebody who, I don't know if I'm a TNA historian, but I think I know more about TNA than a lot of people at this point. I'd be interested to see how much bullshit they try to say during it. Like,
I guess
there's a
Go on.
positive story about TNA to talk about, but it's like you can't just claim that they're so much better than they were. And I know Russo's on there to talk about to blow himself, and Cornette's on there to murder Russo, I'm sure. And then so it's like you wonder what everyone else in the middle is going to say, because they did try to interview Dixie, and Dixie turned it down, and I think Kurt turned it down too. So it's basically everybody else, and I think Tony Khan's on there. So take that for what it's worth.
I would not impugn on the integrity of Karen Jarrett, and I'm sure maybe if what she says isn't true, then Kurt will say so. But just when you said that they were already separated, it just reminded me of whatever shoot interview it was. I think it was the U shoot where Tammy tried to say that she was only fucking Shawn Michaels and whoever else when her and Chris were on a break.
They were on a break every time Chris Candido went to the ring.
Yeah.
And since there's zero chance Tammy's ever going to hear this, I have no worries about ever getting sued for saying that comment.
I mean, you think she would still have you think she would make us co-defendants of Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
I mean, I don't know what she's going to sue us for sexual discrimination about. We cover many things, just the two of us. So
just the two of us.
We can make it if we try, just the two of us. You and I. So I don't know if it's happened or not. Maybe I forgot to reopen Twitter and check. Does Cody beat Sami Zayn for the WWE title tonight on Raw?
I don't know. Probably not, because I think too many people expect it.
I mean, they're in Chicago. People are expecting Cody versus Punk for the title at SummerSlam. But yeah. They didn't. If they have done the match, nobody seems to care because everyone's tweeting about other stuff. But just announced for next week on Raw to determine Penta's challenger for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. It is a gauntlet match: Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable versus Joe Hendry versus Javon Evans versus Dominic Mysterio versus Ethan Page versus Handsome Rusev.
So Chad Gable, that would be an interesting kind of evolution of his storyline.
I think it'd either have to be Gable or Dom, with maybe Javon as like a dark horse third option.
I will guess Gable, unless like they secretly have something bigger planned for him, but I doubt that. So I think it's going to be Chad Gable.
Yeah. Apparently, Maxine Dupree has joined the Vision. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Otis and Akira Tozawa look very sad. And every time I see Akira Tozawa on a backstage WWE segment, I'm like, oh yeah, Akira Tozawa is still in WWE.
Isn't that remarkable? He's been there for 10 years.
Yeah. He's been in since the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
The one that TJ Perkins only won because he was the only person who had agreed to sign a contract for the Final Four, because it wasn't Ospreay, it was Sabre, Kota Ibushi,
TJP and Grand Metalik,
Perkins.
And they went to the finals because they signed.
Yes. Oh, well, I got an update. Cody Rhodes will apparently not be defeating Sami Zayn tonight for the WWE Championship because for some strange, odd, unknown reason, he is not medically cleared to wrestle.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that necessarily supposed to mean, but yeah.
I can.
Sol Ruka is still the Intercontinental Champion for the women's version of it. I'm assuming Cody got attacked because they're just. I'm scrolling through here and like they just have Cody doing like random tests with the doctors.
Cody got attacked in Chicago. Huh?
Yes. Yes.
Who do we know that likes to start fights in Chicago?
The Young Bucks? I think the Young Bucks were there.
The year fucking last year when they had the two Tokyo Dome shows and the one was Wrestle Dynasty with the Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd match. It made me laugh so fucking hard because they had said something to the effect of, well, we hear there's a big commotion backstage, and they were doing like Los Ingobernables and some other group were doing some kind of angle, and Gino Gambino just goes, "What's Kenny done now?"
Oh God. So apparently Seth Rollins' big comment tonight during his match with or not during his match, building up to his match with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And this is supposed to make you like Seth Rollins more than Roman Reigns, I think. He worked 10 times less than I did and earned 10 times more than I did.
You know, okay. I think he could frame that in a way that makes him look less stupid, but it's Seth Rollins, so he doesn't know how.
I don't get it. I know people like him, and I have one Twitter follower who retweets every time he takes a breath. But I'm just not getting it right now.
Should we talk about pizza? Should we figure out what kind of deep dish pizza we're gonna get? We're killing time.
Sure. I mean, I figure, just some sort of, either just the plain cheese deep dish pizza, or if like they have like, a whole bunch of stuff on there, kind of thing.
See, I don't
You've never had deep dish pizza, right?
Yes, I have. I've been to Chicago before.
Okay.
I don't do like peppers and onions on pizza.
That's fine.
I'm a meat lover's man.
Yes. Meat is good shit.
Very good.
By the way, we kind of talked about this, but what the hell's a better time to talk about than right here on the air? Am I picking you up from the train station too? I know you need me to drop you off on Sunday before I leave, but am I picking you up too?
I have not expected you to, and I am prepared to make my own way, but if it conveniently worked out that you could, that would be amazing and make my life better, but it's up to you.
We'll see if it's anything like the last time I went. Now, mind you, last time I went to Chicago, it was a straight shot from my house to Chicago. And so by the time I got to Chicago, I was ready to collapse on my bed. And the only reason why I didn't collapse on my bed was because I knew if I sat down, I would not get back up, and I got tickets for Rampage. So it's one of those, I guess we'll see, because I'm, stopping at my sister-in-law's house on Thursday, spending the day/night, and then leaving early Friday morning to head out to Chicago. Like, I think the plan is to leave her house around 4 a.m, and it's going to be like a 9 to 10 hour trip.
I am leaving my house at about noon on Thursday. I have to drive almost 4 hours to Longview, and then I got to get there early enough to park and check a bag. And the train leaves about 6 p.m., and then it is scheduled to get into Chicago at like 1:20 or something on Friday.
Interesting. And yeah, it's kind of funny because not that I forgot, but it's like while I'm putting together all these timetables in my head, I got to pull it back an hour because I'm going to the central time zone.
Oh yeah, that's so nice because that's like Chicago is the furthest east that I can go and not have to change my time.
It was like, I think it was like right at the start of Indiana is where I believe where we switch over or we go back an hour. But yeah. But Ohio is a bigger state than it looks to get through, so that'll be fun. And yeah, we're just got to look forward to all the fun travel. And it's I'm already not looking forward to the drive home. But that's for another day.
I have convinced myself that I'm making the right choice. I know the train is going to be a lot more comfortable than a plane would. I believe it will be more comfortable and easier on me than a car would. So I'm just going to take something to read or watch and relax.
There you go. All right. Well, we're still going to be back later this week. Tomorrow we got TNA. Thursday we got Smoky Mountain. Friday we got Impact. Luckily for all y'all, most of those shows have already been taped. But that's going to do it for this week's show. Trey and I'll be back on Thursday with Smoky Mountain. And then, of course, we'll be back sometime this weekend with G1 Talk. But I want to thank everyone for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show. And we'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.